My mother framed me as a thief to protect my sister's charity scam. Now I refused to fund their business and forced a public apology after 6 years of silence. Hey. So, my estranged family reached out to me recently after 6 years of no contact, and I set forth a condition that they do not really agree with. So now I want to know if I am in the wrong here. For context, when I say family, I am just referring to my mom and my younger sister. I am a 28-year-old female, and my sister is a 24-year-old female, and she has always been pretty spoiled and got away with everything as a kid. My dad was a bit of a disciplinarian with both of us, but my mother could never bring herself to say anything to my sister. It is not that my mom treated me badly, but there was a clear favorite. Then, when I was in my second year of college, my dad passed away from an aneurysm. It was very sudden, and we found it very difficult to cope with it as a family, but we tried. My dad's passing really brought us together, so my mom's behavior later on was all the more disappointing. My sister was just 16 when our father passed away, and it was obvious that it had really shaken her up. She started acting out in very strange ways, and we had to get her to talk to a psychiatrist because something was obviously going very wrong. Our family was pretty easygoing, and we had never given her a reason to rebel against us. But even then, after our father's death, she started crossing all the lines. She would stay out late every other day without telling my mother anything about her whereabouts. She had started drinking and smoking, and even though she never confirmed it, we were pretty sure that she was taking drugs. She got mixed up with the wrong crowd. Essentially, in order to bring that under control, my mom had to step up and start going against her darling golden child. For a while, she really did. She tried her best to control my sister. She cut off her pocket money so she could not go out on her own, but that did not seem to make a difference. She threatened to ground her, but even that did not seem to faze her, and she was way beyond these petty punishments. It was not until my mom said that she would turn all of them into the cops that they really started fighting. Pot has not been decriminalized in our state yet, so they could get into a lot of trouble for it, even if we put aside underage drinking and smoking. Even by just threatening my sister, my mom was seriously scaring her, so she was not happy about it, but eventually my sister had to follow what my mom was telling her and quit everything, even hanging out with those friends that she used to. My mom forced her to start hanging out more with her old friends so she could get back on track and work towards the future. The last time that I saw my family in person was 6 years ago. I had gone back home for a couple of days to spend some time with them. My sister's school, my old high school, was hosting a bake sale to raise funds for some charitable cause that I do not really remember anymore. All I remember is that my mother had forced my sister to actively take part in it, and my sister was part of the planning committee. My mother and I also baked a bunch of cookies and set up a stall to contribute in our own little way and just be there for my sister. I thought I was doing a good thing. I had no idea what was about to come later. After the event was over, I had plans with a couple of friends to go out for a movie, so I left quickly, and it was just my mother and my sister who stayed back at school that day. When I came back home after the movie, nobody said anything to me, and everything was pretty normal. The next day, I went back to college like I was supposed to. It was then that I had some time, and I finally started realizing that a bunch of people from my high school had unfollowed me on Instagram. I had never had any issues with these people, and I was even friends with some of them back when I was in high school, so I had no idea why this was happening. After racking my brain for a couple of days, I decided to ask one of them what was going on and why they had unfollowed me. When I sent them that message, they replied to me saying that after everything I had done, I should just be glad that people had not started blocking me yet. That made no sense to me, because as far as I was concerned, I had done absolutely nothing. I tried to ask them what they were talking about, but they did not reply to me after that. So I spoke to a couple of people that I was actually still friends with from high school, but they were so far removed from the situation that they had no idea either. Just like me, they had not particularly kept in touch with anyone from our year, and I guess that was good for me in a way that the news that was doing the rounds back home did not reach them. Eventually, after not being able to make sense of what was going on, I decided to speak to my mom and tell her what was happening. Even though I had not thought that she would be able to tell me the truth, she was actually the one who finally explained what was going on. By then, almost 1 month had passed since the bake sale. When I told my mother about how everyone was behaving with me, she told me that she had come clean to me about everything. So that was when she finally told me that since my sister had been on the committee, she had also stayed back with everyone else to count the money that they had made. And I guess when nobody was looking, she had swiped almost $2,000. It was quite a huge amount, so obviously people started noticing. They kept calculating and recalculating again and again until they had to come to the unpleasant conclusion that somebody had stolen the money. Everyone obviously first started suspecting my sister, but nobody really said anything. My mother had also figured out what was going on, so she decided to save my sister and throw me under the bus instead. She cooked up a story on the spot and said that I must have taken the money while she was not looking and left as quickly as I could, because I had apparently become very irresponsible with money due to my drinking problem. Since my mother had refused to keep sending money, I had decided to take it for myself and leave. She claimed that she had thrown me under the bus to save my sister's bright future. Apparently, I had already moved out for college and only came back home for a couple of days every month, so it was not like it made a difference to me what they thought of me. But my sister still had to live with these people, and if they found out that she was the one who had swiped the money that was supposed to go to charity, they would never let her live it down. So she had to do some quick thinking, and that is the plan that she came up with. She even gave up $2,000 out of her own pocket on the spot so that they could end that discussion, and nobody would find out what my sister had done. My mother also begged everyone to keep their mouth shut and not talk about my drinking problem, because I was still trying to deal with it, and she really did not want people to know that I had become this desperate, that I was ready to steal money that was supposed to go to charity. But obviously, people did not keep their mouth shut about it, and I knew for a fact that one of the people who were in the same year as me also had a sister, and she had been on the committee as well. So she probably heard all of this and passed that information on to her sibling, who then told everyone else about it. People were not exactly mad about the fact that I had a drinking problem, but it was a bit hypocritical of me, since when I was in high school, I was a bit of a goody-two-shoes and never smoked, drank, or did anything that could be classified as wrong or unethical. I guess everyone was mad about the fact that even after acting that way in high school, it was still not above me to develop a drinking problem as soon as I went away to college and even started stealing to support my habit. This lie that my mother had told to protect my sister had completely shattered my reputation, but she did not seem to care about it. She believed that since I did not live with them anymore, it did not matter to me, but it did. People who used to know me now thought that I was a thief and a drunkard. I could still deal with the fact that they thought I was an alcoholic, but I could not tolerate the fact that they believed I was a thief because of what my mother had said. I was very upset with her, and I told her that she needed to tell people the truth, but she refused. On top of that, she even told me that I was not allowed to tell people the truth either, because that would ruin my sister's reputation. She had worked very hard to bring my sister back to normal. She could not risk it because she did not want my sister to go back to her old habits, since that would destroy her future. Apparently, the only reason my sister had even swiped that money was because she wanted to go out with her friends, and since her mother was not giving her any money anymore, she had to take these measures herself. But after they came back home from the bake sale that day, my mother apparently told my sister that this was the last time she was bailing her out, and if she put another toe out of line, then my mother would not hesitate to turn her in, and then she would really be on her own. I guess my sister had not expected to get caught during the recount of the money, and that incident gave her a bit of a reality check, so she decided to turn over a new leaf. Or maybe she did not. I do not really know, since I have not exactly been in touch with them anyway. My mother and I had a huge argument about what should be done, because I did not like the fact that she had thrown me under the bus for no reason, but she believed that I did not matter because the only consequences that I would have to face were that a couple of random people who were not even relevant in my life anymore had unfollowed me on social media. But if the truth came to light, my sister's reputation and her bright future would go. I was about to graduate from a great college, so my life was sorted, and the least I could do for the family was to just keep my mouth shut about it. It was incredibly frustrating, and I just hung up without bothering to say anything to her. For a really long time, I struggled to come to terms with this and thought about whether or not I should reveal the truth to everyone by posting it on Facebook or something, but eventually I decided against it. However, I also decided not to contact my family anymore until they decided to reach out to me with an elaborate apology, because even on the phone, my mother had not said that she was sorry. She had just kept insisting that this was the only way out for them and kept trying to defend her decision, but had not apologized even once. So I made up my mind that I would not talk to them until I received an apology, and that is how 6 years have passed. I graduated a couple of months after I had that fight with my mom, and even then, the only people who attended my graduation ceremony were my grandparents. I am close to my dad's parents and his side of the family, since my mom's family is from Iowa, and she herself is not that close to them. After I had told my grandparents what happened with my family, They decided to cut ties with my mom and my sister as well, and eventually the entirety of my dad's side of the family stopped speaking to my mother, and by extension my sister as well, since she never bothered to reach out to anyone. So, for the past 6 years, I have had no contact with them. I do not know what they have been up to, and neither was I interested, because they made it very obvious that they did not care about me. So why should I? Anyway, this was the case until about 6 days ago. It was then that my mom and my sister finally reached out to me once again, and even now it is to ask for my help. They sent me an email, since they did not know my address or my phone number, but I have not changed my email address, so that is where they found me. And they told me that they were apparently starting a new business. My mother had been a real estate agent, and my sister had followed in her footsteps. Now they wanted to start their own real estate business, and they needed my funds because they heard from a couple of people that I was doing really well. They did not hear wrong. I am actually doing pretty well. I am the youngest head of a department in my company, and I handle the entire marketing department, so of course I make a decent amount of money, and I can easily help them out with funding. But after 6 years, this was not enough for them, and I decided to call them up on the number that they had provided in the email and set forth a couple of conditions of my own. My mother was very excited to speak to me, and it was surprising that she was acting this way after not speaking to me for almost 6 years. But none of that mattered to me. I was very straightforward with them, and I told them that I would only be interested in their proposal if their apology was as loud as their disrespect. Even in the email, they had only said that they regretted whatever had happened in the past, but they had not said that they apologized for it. Their regret meant absolutely nothing to me, because I wanted them to post a public apology and acknowledge the lie that my mother had told 6 years back to protect my sister. Only then would I consider coming on board as an investor in their company. I am completely and totally willing to hold up my end of the deal as long as they hold theirs, and I even told them that I was ready to sign any paperwork or contract or whatever, but this was the condition that I would help them out on. I was not about to give them free handouts, because I had worked really hard to get where I am today. And for the past 6 years, my own mother and sister had not bothered to reach out to me until they needed my help. If they were willing to be so cold-blooded and selfish, then I did not see any reason for me to be a fool. I thought I was being fair, but my mother and my sister have taken a huge issue with what I said. They claim that I am being selfish and I should just let bygones be bygones, because unlike me, they are still living in the same city. And they often see people from my sister's high school around, so if the truth comes out even now, it is going to be much worse, because everyone knows that they lied, and the repercussions will be just as bad as before, if not worse. My mother still maintains that it makes no difference to me if people continue to believe the lie that they told, because I do not live there, and I do not have to see these people regularly, so it is different for me, but their life will be ruined. But I told them that that is not my problem, and I believe that I am being completely fair, and I genuinely do think that I am being fair. To me, it is not about whose life is going to be ruined or whose reputation matters more. It is just about the principle of the thing. They lied about me, and I had to live with it for almost 6 years. Truth be told, it did not matter to me as much as it did back then, but the truth has to come out at some point. There is also the fact that for 6 years, they never bothered to apologize to me, so now they really cannot expect me to just give them the funds without expecting anything in return. And obviously, since they expect money from me, I cannot ask them for any other sort of compensation apart from emotional. I am just trying to strike a deal with them. I do not understand what is so selfish or unreasonable about my demand. Anyway, I just really want to know if everyone else feels the same way about this situation as my mother and my sister do. So, am I the asshole for telling my mom and my sister that I will only invest in their business if they tell everyone the truth about them being thieves? Update 1. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for all the kindness and support that you guys have shown me. It really means a lot to me. I have decided to follow the advice that most people have had for me here. I am not going to indulge my family anymore, and neither am I going to try to get them to do what I ask them. You guys are right. I do not need to strike any kind of deal with them, and I really should let bygones be bygones, because at this point it does not matter to me. I am doing well in my life, and I hate to say it because I do not mean to brag, but I am definitely doing better than a lot of people who believe the lies that my mother told them about me. I do not need to prove anything to anyone, and I definitely do not need to prove that I am not a thief, because I know what I am, and that is enough. I guess I was just trying to bargain with my family because I wanted to hurt them, and I wanted to humiliate them. In the past 6 years, it has never mattered to me what people from high school thought about me. But it always used to hurt that even after screwing me over, My mom and my sister did not think it was important to talk to me or apologize to me. So I guess that is how I was trying to deal with this, trying to get some sense of closure. But obviously, after reading most of the comments on my original post, I realized that it was not worth it. My mother's and my sister's behavior even now has made it very clear that to them, it is not very important what I think or what I feel. All that matters to them is their own feelings, and that is why they have not bothered to apologize to me even now. I guess I had been holding out some hope that they would have come to their senses by now, but I was wrong, evidently. I am just a little disappointed and hurt, and that is fine. But I have dealt with this for the past 6 years. I can deal with it for longer. So I am going to send them an email and tell them that I do not want to invest in their business or get involved with them in any capacity at all, and I wish them the best for their life ahead, but I just want them to stay away from me now. Update 2. Hi, so I did it. It has been 10 days since my mother reached out to me again, and last night I finally sent that email after arguing with her about the condition that I had set forth and the fairness of it and stuff. It took me a while to send that email even after my last update, because against all hopes, I was still waiting for them to reach out to me and at least apologize to me in person if they did not want to acknowledge their mistakes in public and put out the truth. I waited for 3 days, but then I realized that I was just setting myself up for failure once again and just got it over with last night. It was very emotionally draining to even type out that email, because I knew that this was probably the last time that I would be interacting with them voluntarily, since the next time that they tried to talk to me, I was not going to entertain it. And there was also the fact that I was finally getting some closure after 6 years. But after I sent that email, I felt very relieved, and I decided to tell my grandparents about everything. So far, I had not shared any of this with them, but I felt like it was finally time. I called them up after sending that email, and I explained the entire situation to them. I even told them about how I had set a condition for my mom and my sister, but eventually I had decided against getting involved in any capacity, and they actually told me that they were very proud of me for being the bigger person and just letting this go. They said that if I had contributed to their business and gotten involved with my family again because they apologized and acknowledged their mistakes on social media, it still would not have repaired anything. As a matter of fact, that would have led to even more bitterness in our relationship, and the only thing that can truly fix our family would be a real apology for my mom and my sister, one that does not need them to be provided with an incentive to apologize, and that comes from the heart. Until then, nothing is ever going to be fixed, and as corny as it sounds, they are right about all of this. So I am pretty happy about my decision, and I am glad I decided to come here for advice, because it proved to be pretty helpful. A lot of you in the comments had said that I should have just posted the truth on social media 6 years back and said that it was pretty stupid of me to act like such a doormat and never speak my truth. But in all honesty, I just did not want to screw up my sister's future. No matter what, they are still my family, and just because they have not been good to me does not mean that I have to be the same way. Like I said, I have always been a goody two-shoes, and I do not think anything can change that. Anyway, I am just going to stay out of this now and mind my own business. Update 3. So, a couple of days back, I sent that email to my mother, and she finally replied to it today. She said that she really wanted to meet me, and so did my sister, because obviously there are a lot of things that we have to talk about. They said that the only reason they have not been able to come to me so far is because even though they have asked a lot of relatives about where I live now, none of them have responded. They have even asked for my phone number, but even that has not been provided to them, and they really feel like this is something we have to sort out in person. In this email, my mother finally apologized. She told me that 6 years back, she had not been thinking about me, and even now she realizes that she has not been thinking about my feelings. She acknowledged the fact that she has been a terrible mother, and not just to me. She has been a terrible mother to my sister as well, because if she had just disciplined her when she should have, the situation would not have gone bad in the first place. My mom said that she had always treated me unfairly because I was the older one, and she expected me to be more understanding, to help her shoulder the weight of everything, and she never really let me be who I am. Even for the past years, she had wanted to reach out to me several times, but she just was not sure if I wanted to speak to her. She realizes that it is a very feeble excuse, but she was too scared of reaching out to me and then realizing that I wanted nothing to do with the family anymore. I thought it was a pretty raw email, and it really came through, so I decided to tell her where I live so they could come over, and we could try to sort things out. I do not know if I am doing the right thing, but my gut feeling says that I should give this a chance, and that is what I am going to do. After my dad's passing, my mom is the only surviving parent that I have, and it is a bit of an irrational fear, But I am just afraid that if something happens to her, I do not think I will be able to live on with the fact that I never bothered to make things right when I had the chance. My dad was taken from me suddenly and without warning on a random Tuesday while I was still asleep in my college dorm room, and I think about it even now. So if I have the opportunity to make things right with my family, I am going to try to do that. Update 4. Hey everyone! A lot of people were skeptical about my decision to invite my family home and try to sort things out with them, but I explained why I did that, and now that I have met them, I do not regret it. So, a couple of hours ago, my mom and my sister came to my house and I invited them in. I am not going to sugarcoat things. It was incredibly awkward for the first couple of minutes, but after some small talk, my mom just said, "Who are we kidding?" and gave me a huge hug. I could feel her sobbing while she was hugging me, and she just kept apologizing over and over again. My sister also just sat on the couch and cried silently, and of course, if everyone else was crying, I could not hold back my tears either. Both of them said that they were really sorry for how they had treated me during the past 6 years and said that no matter how much they apologized, they would never be able to make up for it, and the fact that I had even bothered to invite them here to clear the air now was a huge deal for them. My sister thanked me for taking the fall for her back then and never exposing the truth, even though I could have done that very easily, and it probably would have been more believable for others as well. But I chose not to. I chose to protect her even when both of them had been horrible to me. They said that they wanted to have a fresh start with me, and just to demonstrate how serious they were, they said that they did not even want any investment from me. They would manage on their own because they do not want me to think that I am only a source of money for them. They just wanted to share the news of their new business with me and had hoped for an investment earlier, but they now realized that they had been selfish. They were the ones who had only thought about themselves, not the other way around. I am not really sure what led to this awakening, but I am pretty glad that we had this conversation, and even though there is a long way to go for us, this is a start. We are going to try and keep in touch and try to mend these broken relationships. I have spoken to my grandparents about it as well, and they think that it is a good decision, so I am glad that I did this. People make mistakes, but the ones who forgive when the time comes make more of a difference. So I am hoping for the best now. Let us see where this goes.